Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, on this episode of John's Arcade, well guys, we're doing a tech video, I guess. This is kind of part number 3. Actually, it is part number 3 of our Robotron power supply fix video. Now, everything is working perfectly fine with the Robotron, and by the way, guys, the basement is mad at me. I don't know what's going on, but do you see what's happening back here? Do you see this? The Journey monitor has collapsed again, okay? And this happened a few months ago, okay? And I fixed it by reseating the yoke connector on the G07 chassis, okay? And that totally fixed it, right? It was fine for months, okay? And for whatever reason, it's not fine anymore, okay? So we're gonna have to revisit that. Now, the other night when Matt was here, my buddy Matt McCarthy's here like last Monday, and we were playing Donkey Kong all night long. And while he was playing, we were taking turns. While he was playing, I was messing around with that Journey all night. And I could not get the picture to come back like we did before when we moved the yoke connector. I actually got it back to come back like one time for a second, and then within like a minute later, it collapsed again. So I don't know what's up with that G07. We're gonna have to look at it. Now, I did order these a while ago and never put them in. This is the 2SD 1138s. These are the vertical ICs, okay? And I've heard for this symptom that you need to replace these because one of them could be on the way out, or it's heating up and it's causing the collapse. I have no idea. So I think in the next video, we're gonna attack the Journey. It could just be a cold solder joint on the bottom near the yoke connector. I don't know, it's really bothering me though. Isn't that something else? So we'll do Journey restoration part number 7,000 in the next video. I think we're gonna do that as a midweek video. But before I move on to anything else, I wanted to get some closure with the Robotron, because I actually learned some stuff after the last video. There was stuff that happened in the last video that I didn't pick up on and just, I guess, wasn't paying attention or didn't click, okay? Especially about the coin doors. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, because I feel like the install we did last time with the switching power supply was a little bit incomplete. And I think we should do one more thing, because Bob Roberts, and actually, if you research this, I'm wondering how we should tackle this video, because I want to kind of just go over what's going on with the kit that we put in there and what compromises we introduced along the way, and how we're going to kind of fix one of them just to kind of make it a little more safer of an install. So I tell you what, let's go over to the Robotron, okay? And what I'll do is I'll pull it back, and I want to talk about the back door sheet and everything, and just kind of get to work here. And really, I just want to have some closure with this so we can move on. But honestly, I'm going to tell you guys, I got a little bit of flack last time about, I'm actually looking there. My high score did not save, did it? Yeah, it must have, right? I don't know. So I got a little bit of flack in the last video about not rebuilding the switching power supply, and I'm okay with that, okay? Because, you know, I always want to rebuild the original power supply, right? But at the end of the day, you know, voltage is voltage is voltage. Some games, there's serious compromises if you remove the linear and put in a switching power supply. Robotron is kind of one of those games, okay? Because of this whole reset thing and how it saves scores and settings and all that. Now, I'll tell you, I haven't lost any of my settings, I don't believe. Or did I? No, I didn't. So it's still on free play, it's still holding all my settings. I don't know why my high scores don't seem right though. But it saved all the settings. I haven't lost any of that, because I guess with the original linear power supply, there's kind of a capacitor on the power supply that keeps the voltage kind of alive as the game is shutting down, so it could save everything, right? So the game's like, oh my god, we're shutting down, we're losing voltage, quickly save. With the switching power supply, you kind of get just an instant shutdown, and there's no like capacitor to kind of keep it alive. And also, and I don't think this applies to my game though, it's how it handles the 5 volts and the 12 volts and the -5. I think for the 4116 RAM on the original PCB that the linear power supply is better, but my game has been modded, and I have the 4164 RAM on there, and the 12 volt line and the -5, I believe, are both cut going to the CPU board, so I don't really need all those voltages going to the main PCB. I'm only using really the 5 volts So I think in my situation, the linear the switching power supply is just fine. I was gonna rebuild the linear in the last video, but I just didn't have the parts. But I had this, and the game's back up and running. So we'll see what happens. You know, I've got switching power supply adapter kits in my Zookeeper. I got one in my Journey over there, and the kits can be very good. You know, like with Qbert, I had problems with the switching power supply kits with the sound because you're not getting enough voltage to the audio amp, where the sound sounded weird like on my Mad Planet, so I rebuilt that linear. So far, I'm not seeing any compromise with the Robotron. Actually, even I talked to Ian Kellogg at iankellogg.com, who is a power supply engineer, and he said, just leave the switching power supply in there. It's more efficient, he said. So anyway, in this video, though, I want to just kind of finish the job we started in part number 2 and just kind of do everything right. So enough of that. Anyway, let me pull the game out and let's kind of see what we did in the last video and what we're going to do in this video to make it even that much better of an install. All right, let me pull the game out. All right, I got the game out here. So let me open the lower door here and let's pull off the top door. The game is on right now. I'm going to turn it off. All right, so let me pull this door off. Okay, I want to talk about the wiring diagram that's on here, okay? Because there's something on this wiring diagram that I did not pick up on in the last video, okay? And this is what had me scratching my head, okay? So here is the old power supply, okay? Now the old power supply had the AC voltage coming in from the transformer, okay? And then this stuff here goes over to these transmitters and this big heat sink. And then right here is the DC voltage out, and then over here is another 6-pin connector, a Molex connector that's going to the coin door, okay? And you can see here that the white and yellow wires is negative 6.3 volts AC, okay, for the coin door bulbs, okay? When we installed the switching power supply adapter, okay, well these were removed from the equation. We weren't using these anymore, okay, and we had a new AC line in going to the power supply that we tapped in at the monitor, okay, and then we had our DC voltages out that go to the logic board, and then there was a second connector, okay, this one right here, okay, that on the output line, originally, on pin 1 and 2 was 6.3 volts, negative 6.3 volts AC, and then there was positive 27 volts DC coming off of pin number 3, okay? Then there was a key and then a ground, okay? So what's interesting about all of this, okay, is that we were using this connector, okay? And I say that it's interesting because if you're to research this topic, and if you're to go on the Arcade Shop website and look at the picture of the Williams power supply adapter, okay, and if you're to open the PDF manual that's on their website about this adapter, it makes zero mention of this connector, okay? In fact, the picture of the image of the power supply adapter does not have this adapter. Actually, McDonald on the YouTube channel left a comment with a link showing like what's going on here. And so actually, let me show you an image from Arcade Shop's website of the Williams power supply adapter. Here it is. So you can see it only has this connector right here, and it doesn't use that connector. Now, if we come over here and look at the one that I got, it has 2 connectors. Right? It's got this one right here for the 5 volts and negative 5 and 12 volts for the logic board. And then it's got this connector right here, which is for the coin door. What's going on? And what's even weirder is that if you're using this, okay, these 2 wires, yellow and white and yellow, it's dumping 5 volts DC onto them with no ground going to the lights. Okay, so by default, with that plugged in, the coin door light bulbs are not going to work, okay? Because the original wiring had 2 AC lines going to each bulb, 2 negative 6.3, okay? There's no ground because you don't have a ground in AC. You just have the hot and neutral, right? So with those, is this making sense here? So out of the box, if I plug this into here, I basically have 5 volts going to each bulb and no ground. And that's why in the last video, I was so confused. I thought someone wired the coin door wrong, when in fact it was wired correctly for AC, but not correct for DC, okay? And by using this adapter, we're switching the coin door from AC to DC. And as a result, we had to add a ground wire, which is what I did, okay? So if we come up here and we look at the coin door, all right, so here's the bayonet for the bulb, okay? So originally, from the factory, I would have had a yellow, I would have had this yellow and white, and a yellow going right there, delivering negative 6.3 AC from the power supply, which is actually being passed, I believe, right through from the transformer, okay? And same thing on this side. We had the yellow and white. Now, if you just plug that adapter in, what we're getting then is just 5 volts and 5 volts going here and no ground. So when I removed one of the AC lines and then added this ground, the lights lit up, okay? So, what does this all mean? Well, if you ask Bob Roberts, he would tell you that this is all wrong, okay? Because he did a write-up on this. Because this has been something that's... And by the way, so these little coin lockout things don't function right now because there's no DC voltage going to them. And originally, this would have been 27-volt DC. And these are like little magnetic things that prevent you from using the mechs, and I don't really know when they get engaged or when they don't get engaged. I know that a lot of the old pinball games had these where you couldn't put more quarters in. I believe when the game was running or something, or after it reached a max amount of quarters or something, these would engage to prevent quarters from going in. I don't really know, to be honest. It's something like that. Maybe you guys know better than me and can explain. So anyway, what we have right here, right now, is 5 volts DC going to each coin door bulb, which is fine. I'm okay with that, right? We basically converted it from negative 6.3 to 5 volts DC, from AC to DC. It works fine, okay? And we're getting the power directly from the new power supply using that new header that we added, actually the header that's on the adapter, okay? But what we do have now is a potential problem long term, okay? And Bob Roberts did a big write-up about this because a lot of people have been putting switching power supplies in William games for a long time, but because of this goofy AC voltage and stuff that was coming off the power supply for the coin door lights, it's been causing this kind of problem all along, which is why this adapter probably originally did not have that extra little header there for the coin door, okay? So anyway, Bob says, fine, all right, if you want to power the coin door bulbs with the switching power supply, go for it, okay? But you should really put an inline fuse in there, because if those bayonet bulbs, the bulb holders, if those were to short, and they do, okay, over time, these things fail, okay, especially right here, okay? So if these things were to short, okay, it'll basically turn the power supply off, because the power supply has like an auto sensing kind of short shutdown thing, and it would just shut down the switching power supply, which is fine. But I guess if it happened enough or long enough, it could eventually just take the whole power supply out. So Bob says, hey, to be safe, put an inline fuse in there, or take those wires off there and wire them down to the transformer down below with the fuse that's built in. So I thought about this, how to do this. So what I don't want to do is molest my original cabinet wiring plug, okay? Because right now it's right in here. And if I wanted to, I could just plug this right in to the old power supply and go back. And actually, that's another option for me too, is to put power back on the original power supply and use the AC for the coin door lights. But I kind of don't really want the old power supply running still, because really the problem with the old power supply wasn't the negative 6.3 for the coin door. The problem I was having was the 5 volts for the logic board. But I don't like the idea of having that linear power supply running alongside the switching power supply in the same cabinet. It seems like unnecessary to have all that voltage. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to add the fuses for the 5 volts line that's coming off of here. And I think that's what we'll do, and we'll be done with this forever. And I think we could do this in such a way where it looks original, it's neat, and it's tidy. And if we want to go back to the original power supply ever, we can easily undo this, or it's not going to affect the thing. So I went on Amazon and I picked these up here, and we're just going to kind of screw these to the side of the cabinet and put 5 amp fuses in there, which is what Bob recommends. And I kind of like this because, and then if we end up having long-term problems with the high score save, we can get an MV RAM kit for this and put an NVRAM module on the board, and then we'll never lose any scores for like 20 years. And then this game will essentially be bulletproof forever. So, all right, let's take a look here. So what I want to do is I want to figure out a spot to put these, and we're going to basically be cutting these two wires, because right now I have one of each, the yellow and the yellow and the white and the yellow. I wonder if I could just do it on the ground wire instead. That way I only need one fuse. It's kind of interesting. Is there anything technically wrong about just putting it on the ground instead of on the power? Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't do that, right? Because if one shorts to the other, it doesn't matter. They become kind of the same wire. Let me look up front here and see if we can kind of figure out which one is the ground wire. And it should be the brown wire, but I don't know if that goes directly back to that Molex connector. So it would be this last wire here, which is black and orange. Let me take a look up front. I think we're going to just put one on each of the power lines to be safe. Yeah, I don't think that's the same ground that's up here. Yeah, I think we're just going to do the yellow and the white. So we have these two wires right here, yellow and white and yellow, and they come up here, and they kind of come around here, and then they go to the coin door. And I want to just kind of cut them in the middle and put the fuse right in the middle of all of this, all right? And let's kind of separate them from here. So it should be this one right here. Just double check. So it's this yellow right here, and this yellow and white. So it's this and this. It's these two wires right here. And if we're to kind of cut it right around here, I think we can kind of neatly put two fuses like this and then solder the wires to them. I mean, what do you guys think about this, huh? I also got to put this in such a place now where I can solder, but I don't think that'd be a problem. I can use that service outlet on the bottom there. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and just cut the wire right here, and then we're going to put our fuse holders right above it. And I think we could totally do this in a way here where it'll look pretty cool. Let me get my side cutters here. I know. We should not be revisiting this topic. I really do need to move on, but I really feel like I need to do this third video just to kind of fully document this whole topic here. All right, so I'm going to come in here, and this is going to be kind of tricky for me to film, but basically I'm going to come in here and just cut right here, okay? And these are the two 5-volt lines right now that I'm using to feed the coin door bulbs. And I'm going to just pull these wires back like so. Okay, and there should be enough slack here for us to, let me just kind of come down here. So let's see. I want to get some more slack off this. Just so I can kind of really get it out of the way. So I'm going to have to kind of remove it from this bundle. Okay. So if we come up here, like so, and then we'll continue on like that. I don't know if you guys can see what we're doing right here. No, you can't. So I want to kind of come up here, and then we'll put our fuse right there and just continue on. Okay, so I'm going to strip these wires back, and then we're going to start soldering this. The cabinet is off. Everything's off. So let me get my wire strippers. And we're going to have to get the soldering iron here. so let's strip these. I'm stripping them back kind of far, just so I can really thread. So we have this little fuse holder here, and they have eyelets on them. So I'm going to thread one of these on each of these, and then we're going to screw these to the cabinet. Just like so. Alright, so there's one for that one 5-volt line. And then let's put one on the other 5-volt line.
On your mark.
Now, I don't really know why 5 amps, I'll be honest with you, is the right value for this, but that's what it says on Bob's site. And that's what I'm running with here. If you guys disagree, tell me. Okay, so we got that like that. We can kind of put it up here. And see if I feed this underneath here. Might be a little bit neater. And then we'll zip strip this all together. Okay. And then the other wires are right here. So I'm going to go ahead and strip those. So all we're doing is we're putting this fuse in the middle of the wire, essentially, right? We cut the wire, and we just stuck a fuse in the middle, and that's it. And then if something bad happens, the fuse will blow and break that connection, and that short will not continue, okay? So just a little safety thing. Now I have to make sure I get these wires right. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I want to make sure I get the same color to color. All right, so this is just solid yellow, which is this one right here. Let's see if I can bring the camera just a little bit lower so you guys can really see what's going on here. I really need to buy a new tripod, like badly. I've done hundreds of videos of this thing and it's just falling apart. Okay, so let's come in here. So we have yellow to yellow. Okay, and I'm just kind of doing the wires first before I screw this down, because I just want to make, I don't want to have tons of extra screw holes I don't need. And then let's do the yellow to white. All right. Okay, so let me grab some screws and my screwdriver, and let's screw those to the wall. I know this is pretty basic what we're doing, but again, I just really felt like I wanted to really have closure with this topic. And now I don't have to think about it. I'm just going to move on with my life. All right, so we're going to just kind of screw this to the wall in here. So, just trying to figure out the best place. Right here. All right. Alright, so one's right there. And let's go ahead and screw the other one right below it.
On your mark.
You can see it right here.
Get set.
And then I'm going to screw this guy right below it. Try to leave a small gap in between so they're not touching each other. Alright. Okay. So they're both there. So now we need to add some solder. Let me just kind of show you guys the work. So now we're going to solder this. You can kind of see right there. We have our two inline fuses there. Let's see if we can really show you guys. Right there. So I think that looks okay. Alright, so let me grab my soldering iron. Let's let that heat up and then we'll just solder that real quick. Okay, I think my soldering iron is hot enough. And by the way, I want to point out here that I have the soldering iron plugged into the service switch on the bottom. The game is off, but that outlet still works. That's the purpose of that outlet. For a technician, and this goes back to the Williams like and Bally pinball days, okay? So, the game is off, a technician has a soldering iron, test equipment, whatever. He's got an outlet right there so he can test the game and not get an extension cord or work on the game while the game is off. So that's why you don't want to have your switching power supply tapped into that AC, because that's always on even when the power switch on the game is turned off. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to try to just carefully kind of come in here and solder this. So if you guys can kind of see where we're going for.
On your mark.
It's going to be a little bit awkward, like a lot awkward, especially those back ones. So hopefully I can do this without too much trouble. Just trying to get the camera out of the way. Erg. Alright. Alright, well here we go. I'll just do the front one right here because I can really get to it easily. Can't really see what the heck I'm doing. All right. I can't really see in here at all. I think those are totally on, actually. All right, let's get the back ones. Alright, so I'm going to go in there. I guess we'll keep the camera. I can't see anything. Alright. I believe.
On your mark.
I can't see a darn thing in here. Alright, I think that's good. Let's get the lower one. I mean, basically, I'm just, if I have enough heat here and there's solder, it's all gonna flow correctly, even if I can't see what's happening. All right, these ones are absolutely fine. That one. This one's good. I don't believe this one's good. Alright, let me redo this one. Alright. Just trying to get enough heat on there, and then just hope the solder is flowing, even though I can't see it. Yeah, that one's fine. All right, so these are all good.
On your mark.
All right, so let me, what I want to do really quick is I'm going to test continuity just to kind of double check my work to make sure everything's, I tapped into the right places, okay? And because if we didn't, you know, we could be causing a big problem for ourselves. So let me get my multimeter. And I know on the bottom of the cabinet that those 2 wires are 5 volts coming from the power supply. So if I take my meter and put it on continuity beep, I just started 720. Put the soldering iron on it. Hang on. I gotta get good at that game someday. Anyway, I'm just gonna make sure that we have continuity from where I think it's going to where it should be going. So it should be from here to here. That's good. And this one. Oh, they're both on the same. That's interesting. Yeah. God, I probably could have got away with 1 fuse because these wires right now are kind of combined at the power supply, the way that adapter works. So we could have got away with 1 single fuse and maybe 1 single wire. I could have had both wires going to 1 fuse and then they could have split. Whatever, it's fine. Let me get my zip ties. Actually, let's turn the game on and see what happens. Let's see if the coin door lights do not work if I turn it on without fuses. All right, so when we turn the game on, all right, so the coin door lights, let me go up front and look. Yeah, they're not lit, okay? So let's pop a 5 amp fuse in one of them. Where are my fuses? Hang on, let me grab some 5 amp fuses. All right, I'm gonna turn the game off. It's off. And I'm just gonna put 1 fuse in.
On your mark.
And I'm using slow blow, 5 amp slow blow fuses. All right, so we got 1 in. So now we should have 1 coin door lit. And if we go to the front, we have 1 coin door lit, 1 bulb lit. All right, and I'm gonna put the second fuse in. Game's totally booting. So let's throw a second fuse in here. All right, so now we should have 2 coin doors lit, 2 bulbs. All right, let's take a look up front. All right, so our fuse work is good. And we're protected now. If those bayonets short out, it's not going to take the power supply down. So I feel better about that. And what do you guys think? Was this necessary? Was it unnecessary? You know, I don't see any harm in what we did today. If anything, it could just give us a little bit of a safety buffer. And, you know, Bob Roberts has been doing this a long time. I tend to take his advice on stuff.
On your mark.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want to get some zip strips, just kind of tidy this up. And then maybe we can play a game or two and just double check everything. So let's see if we can just kind of neaten everything up here just a little bit. And I think we're officially done with this topic now. I mean, what's great about doing it this way is that if this power supply ever fails, you just go buy a new one for 30 bucks, plug it in, and you're done. All right. And then these wires here, let's kind of zip strip those together. So we have a little wire holder here. Take advantage of that. And we have one right here as well. Actually, let me turn this off. Game's off right now. So I'm gonna unplug this and just snake this through this side. So it's in this little wire holder here, just to kind of neaten this up. Yeah, let's kind of just throw one right here. I think we could throw one in the back here. And I think we're done. I'm still wondering if that harness on the coin door is original. I don't think it is. It's just too many extra wires hanging out. Alright, so I'm going to come through here and just clip all the extras on the zip strips.
On your mark.
I think we have closure now. We can sleep at night knowing that we went the extra mile. And the linear is totally out of the equation. Everything's running off this very efficient, modern power supply. And if we have to revisit this with the NVRAM, I'm not opposed to that. It eliminates the battery from the board. I know someone in my last video commented that he was selling those on eBay. I'm not sure what they are, but I think I'd have to desolder a chip on the PCB, and then we'd add a socket. Okay, so let me button the game up, and actually, I kind of want to read a viewer mail that kind of goes along with this topic here. So let me button it up, and then we'll do some gameplay stuff with this. All right, so let me close it up, and we'll come right back. All right, we got the game back in its hole. So I actually wanted to read this viewer mail here. It actually relates to Robotron gameplay, okay? And it's from Clive, and it says, Robotron tips. And I thought we could apply some of these tips right now as we test out Robotron. And the thing is, I'm confused about the scores that are on there right now, because I thought there's like initials on there that I don't remember putting on, like CJW or something. Like, look at CJM. I don't know who that is. Didn't we do a JON last time? We gotta pay attention to this. Or did I just put random stuff in? Oh man, maybe we do need to get the NVRAM, and we're going to be doing part number 3 of this. Anyway, Clive says, on brainwaves, okay, when you have the big brain guys, it says protect Mikey, which is the child, the boy, and save him last, okay? It says this will preserve all the other humans. They cannot be turned into progs until Mikey is captured. Now, I guess he's talking about the girls that turn into zombies, I call them. So if Mikey gets captured, then they can be captured. That's interesting. All right, we're going to try that. Keep that in mind. On the tank waves, travel counterclockwise and complete the circle around the tanks to discontinue their snowballs. Boy, I'm learning stuff here. All right, so when we get to the tanks, we're going to go counterclockwise. On all waves, make your way to the sides close to the corners where enforcers are being created by the spheres. Okay. On all waves, make your ways to the sides close to the corners. All right, let's try this, okay? So on all waves, we're going to go near the corners where the enforcers are, which I guess we don't have right now. All right, so there's an enforcer. And we made our way to the corner. All right. All right. All right, Clive, we're trying it, man. We gotta make our way to the corner. Okay, is this the brains? All right, so there's one single Mikey. Okay, I got it. So we gotta protect him. Get him last. Oh, I see what's going on. So if Mikey's alive, they won't turn the girls into... Oh, wait. No, Mikey's alive. Oh, they didn't turn into a zombie, though. There's Mikey. Oh, this really changes how I do this level. Oh, except I can't. Alright, well, that's interesting. Oh my god. I got one life. I gotta get to 100,000 here. We gotta get to the tank so we can try his tank strategy. Counterclockwise. Shoot! Alright, I'm trying this again. Maybe I did just put in garbage before. I think I did. Alright, let's try it again. So I hope you guys are liking the Robotron topic. You know, honestly, I'm trying not to be too ADD right now with all the projects. I'm trying to just stick with one, finish it, and then move on. Because I know we have so many irons in the fire right now. And I really want to just focus on fixing broken games. And I want to just stay on the game until it's 100%. I don't want to revisit the topic. Now, I'm pretty sure this thing's saving high scores. I hope. I mean, it's saving the settings, I know that. So it must be saving the scores as well. It's the same memory, right? Fudge! Gotta get to the tanks. Oh my god. I'm trying again. Alright. Got a businessman down here. Don't need to worry about him. That's 2,000 points. It's actually kind of a lot. Alright. So we get a free life. Is it every 25,000? I think it is. Alright, this is the brain. Alright, so we gotta protect Mikey. Where is he? Where's that kid? Oh, they got him. Okay. So once they get him, all bets are off. And then it becomes a big zombie fest. I get it. Holy cow. Wow, I never knew that. Clive, I learned something. Thank you. It seems like that would be a secret everybody would be talking about. Darn it! Come on, we gotta get to the tanks at least. I want to try that counterclockwise strategy. Tanks, alright. Oh my god, we're going counterclockwise. Let's do it. Can't seem to get over here. Complete the circle. It's not working. So I was trying to go counterclockwise. Alright, let's actually put my initials in here so I can really tell if it's saving. Alright, well guys, that's it. We officially have Robotron closure, I believe. The only way I see us revisiting this topic is if the scores stop saving. So number 2 was John. All right, number 1 was just like the letter D. All right, let's do some viewer mail. You guys want to hang out? This tripod is a disaster. Hang on.
On your mark.
What is going on with this stupid thing? Now it's at like a Batman angle. All right, we gotta go like this. All right, I guess that's it. All right, let's go over here and do some viewer mail. Next video, we are definitely working on the Journey monitor. We have no choice because that's not going to work, guys. And then we're going to do the Firefox. Then we're going to do the iRobot. iRobot, I have a plan. I have some parts for the reset circuit. We're going to see what happens with that. So, all right, let's do some viewer mail. If you guys want to participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me at john@johnsarcade.com. That's john@johnsarcade.com. In the subject line, put whatever you want. It can be a question, a comment, whatever. Send it to John, John, J-O-H-N, at johnsarcade.com, and we'll read it here on the show. All right, so I got a lot of emails about this one because I stupidly said something wrong in the last video, and I probably say things wrong in a lot of videos, but this one I knew, and I guess I just had forgotten the exact history of Wild Gunman and Back to the Future. Now, the mistake I made was I said it was not a Play Choice 10 game, which is not true, because it is a Play Choice 10 game. And in the movie Back to the Future 2, there's a Nintendo cabinet in the background. It looks like a black Donkey Kong. The pictures I always see, though, it's all stretched out, but it looks like a black Donkey Kong style cabinet. I always thought it looked like a punch-out cabinet because the images I always see are all stretched and it looks really tall. But at the end of the day, it could be running a Play Choice 10 or an NES. There was never a Nintendo versus Wild Gunman. So what you see in the show, it really is fictional because there is no Wild Gunman kit like that with a marquee and all that. So they did make it. But anyway, I got a bunch of emails. I'll read one here from Harold. John, I really like your show. I have watched just about every video. Lots of great fun. The Wild Gunman in Back to the Future is a Nintendo versus system. But I disagree with you there. If you look at it, though, okay, let's keep going. If you look carefully at the Back to the Future picture you showed, then compared to an actual Versus system, you can see the dual joysticks in painted black, but barely visible is the speaker grill on the left side in the front. Right, so, okay. It could be a Donkey Kong cabinet with a Nintendo Versus kit in it. It's still a Donkey Kong cabinet, though, painted black, because the original dedicated Versus cabinets, like we did in the Will Wright video for Raid on Bungling Bay, did not look like the cabinet in that game. So it was definitely some form of a Donkey Kong style cabinet. It looks like it was painted black with a Nintendo Versus kit in it, okay? And then with a custom marquee. Anyway, going on. According to the DVD commentary, Back to the Future 2, Bob Gale stated the arcade cabinet used in the movie was made specifically for the movie as Nintendo had not released a dedicated Wild Gunman machine into arcades. Keep up the great work and fix that linear supply in your Robotron. I'll give you good board level trouble. It'll give you board level troubleshooting skills. Have a great day, Harold. So according to Harold, Nintendo made that cabinet just for them. I got another email saying that the frame rate on that game was too good for the movie, that it was running like a VHS tape playing the game or something. So who knows? so at the end of the day, here's what we know. Wild Gunman was an NES game, okay? It was also a Play Choice 10 game, which was really just a port of the NES version. It was the same version, it was just, the Play Choice 10 was nothing more than an NES with a timer, right? The Nintendo Versus games were different. There was never a Nintendo Versus Wild Gunman, okay? He claims that maybe Nintendo made a special Versus version for them. I bet you they did not, and they did something else in that cabinet. I don't know. My bet would be that maybe it's a Play Choice 10 with the Versus control panel and a custom marquee. I don't know. I guess if you look at it, it really looks like a Versus cabinet, but that game was never released, so who knows when it's actually playing. So, and I got another email about it from Brian saying, I played Hogan's Alley, Duck Hunt, and Wild Gunman for years when I was younger. There was dedicated cabinet for the game but over the years, it's very hard to say any of the original cabinets cause owners and operators just didn't. I don't think it was dedicated. So most of what I saw in a Versus cabinet that just said Nintendo on the light marquee. So I googled some pics and hope the links are what I wanted. As the pics, because this email is done on my phone. Thanks for all the information on your games. If I had the room, time, and money, I would totally be doing the same thing. But I don't think I make money as an operator because I live in an area where there are 3 arcades already. One amazing and the others are okay. But the awesome one is called Boxcar. They have 2 locations, and one in my city, one down the road, about an hour and a half, and putting a website on here so you can see what I'm talking about. Thanks for reading this, Brian. So Brian sent me an image, though, that was a replica of the actually, my friend, just Brian D in New England here, built a replica Wild Gunman. So, I don't know, guys. I'm saying there was never a dedicated Wild Gunman arcade, and I'm sticking with that. And I don't know what they put in that movie, but that was a fictional game. Whatever it was. That's the point, I guess.
On your mark.
All right, next one here is from Jackson. Hey, John, my name is Jackson. I am 16 years old, and I live in Texas. I have one quick question for you. Do you think that you could possibly buy the Mappy at the hangar and bring it down to the basement? I know it doesn't really get a whole bunch of love at the hangar, but that's why I think that you should do it. It's my favorite arcade game. By the way, I'm a huge fan of your channel, and I've been watching since the Gyrus Restore. Thanks, and keep up the good work. Jackson, well, Jackson, I'll tell you something. I actually talked to Jay about this. I said, hey, man, can I just buy that Mappy from you? Because it's not doing well here, because that's Jay's game. And we never really agreed on a price. And long story short, the Mappy left the hangar. So it's not there anymore. So Jay's got it. You know, the way Jay likes to do trades, so I'd have to trade something if I wanted the Mappy. So I don't really know what I would get rid of, though. Mappy's cool. But man, that game got no play at the hangar. No one cared. Honestly, it was the worst game there. No one cared about it. As cute as it was, as great as I think it is, it just didn't play. The masses, the John Q public wanted nothing to do with that. But Jackson, I wouldn't rule out getting a Mappy down here at some point. It's been on the list. And by the way, I should be getting a game next weekend if all goes as well as planned. Might be tough. It's Easter weekend next weekend, right? And so we'll see. Sorry, I'm drinking water. Byron says, hello, John. My name is Byron, and I love your channel. I've seen mostly of your videos. I did not know there were cool spots in SoCal that sold and repaired arcade games. I found a guy that builds custom arcades, and I'm going to get a multi-cade made, and I would like to see if you have any John's Arcade artwork. I would like to put it on the side of the cabinet if possible. Keep up the great work and try to come out to SoCal more, LOL. Byron. No, there's no John's Arcade artwork. The closest thing to it is if you go to Phoenix Arcade, and if you look at the Arcade Classics artwork, I actually did that. That's my work. I mean, I used some of the like images from Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and all that, but like the graphic design and the logo and all that, I did all that graphic design and put that all together for Phoenix Arcade's multi-cade artwork set. So that would be the closest thing that's got a little bit of me inside of it. So, but no, I've never made any John's Arcade artwork, Byron. I can give you the logo if you want. Let me know. Shoot me an email at john@johnsarcade.com. This one's from Troy. Hey, John, I discovered your show some months ago, and it inspired me to do something I've always wanted to do, build my own arcade. I'm fortunate to be old enough to have lived through the glory days of the arcades and have always dreamed of having one of my own, but never realized it was possible until watching your show. Your show has also taught me to look for games that need some love and bring them. Oh, your show also made him think about buying games that are broken or need love and bringing them back to life. I recently was given a bump and jump that was converted from a Stratovox. It's still a work in progress, but I've included some pictures of my work. This will be my third game. I've so far collected a Gyrus, a Mr. Do, and the bump and jump. Thanks for the knowledge and inspiration. Keep up the great show, Troy. All right, let's show Troy's games right here. All right, so here's Troy's games. Now, Troy, you got some interesting stuff going on here. I don't know if you're aware, okay? So the Mr. Do, it looks like it's in some sort of a Century cabinet, you know, like a Time Pilot or a Phoenix, something like that. That looks like that's what that used to be, okay? And the bump and jump in the Stratovax cabinet is actually super cool, though, because you have it looks like the Data East Deco marquee on there because Bump and Jump was sold as a kit, okay? Because Data East sold some kits in the U.S. for Burger Time and Bump and Jump that were different than the Bally Midway stuff, and you've got a really cool kind of Data East Deco marquee on that game, and I kind of dig it. That looks very cool. So I don't know what your plan is, and the gyrus looks totally legit. Good job. So I don't know what you're doing with the Stratovox though. I like Bump and Jump. Stratovox is interesting, right? That's the first game with digital speech, I believe. It, it says help me, save me. so anyway, all right, guys, that's it. Again, if you want to participate in the viewer mail, email them to me at john@johnsarcade.com. john@johnsarcade.com. Actually, I want to do this really quick. Chris Bucci, who has a great YouTube channel, he really does. Chris Bucci, it's Spida 1. Is it Spida 1A? I think it is. He's got a great big pinball YouTube channel. He's been doing it forever. Very long-time YouTube guy. And Chris Bucci, and I think it's cool he watches my videos because I've watched a lot of his videos. And I'm a fan of his as well. Anyway, so Chris sent me an email saying, hey, John, actually, he sent me an email, and then he sent me this package with this letter and this stuff here. Hey, John, as a fellow Ghostbusters pinball owner, I thought you might like these. They are slime spotlight mods for your pinball machine. They clip on the two spotlights, left and right. They came in a kit from Mezzle Mods. I wasn't going to use these extras and thought you might enjoy them. Keep on bustin'. Sincerely, Chris Bucci, Spida A1. So, Chris, thanks for sending me these. I'm going to put these on the Ghostbusters at the hangar, and we'll do that very soon here, and maybe I'll do a quick little video and post it. What do you guys think? So I cannot envision where these go. I'd have to have the machine in front of me, but he says they go on the spotlights. So what we'll do is I'll go to the hangar, and maybe I'll just do a quick video. I'll do it with my phone, and I'll release it on the channel. And maybe I'll do like a 5-minute video, and I won't make it unlisted. I do a lot of unlisted videos, guys. If you follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Actually, I don't really post on Instagram. I have an Instagram. I barely use it, though. I usually post unlisted videos on Facebook or Twitter. But Chris, thanks for sending me these little things. I will do a quick little video, maybe this week. It looks like these just clip onto the lights on the sides. I'd have to see it, so we'll do the video. So, all right, we're done. Again, viewer mail, john@johnsarcade.com. Check out my podcast, Video Game Outsiders, at videogameoutsiders.com. We have an app on the iTunes iOS store and also on Google Play. The app is free. You can get all our new shows and all of our bonus content with a little $1.99 subscription, including the John Show, where I do like arcade talk usually on that little podcast. It's a quick 10-minute podcast once a week, but I usually do it like now after I do this video. So, all right, next video, we're gonna do the journey, and then or maybe it might be a new game. It depends, but I definitely want to do the journey. I definitely want to reflow the solder on that board and just figure out why that thing is collapsing. So, very irritating, isn't it? So, all right, guys, that's it. I'll see you very soon. Later, and bye.